This class is going to be a short arm strengthening drills class, which is one of my favorite things to do because I've always had really loose, open shoulders from lots of back bending. So strengthening, not just the shoulders, but the whole arm and the wrist is one of my favorite things to do. So let's get started in a plank pose. We'll actually start in tabletop position just to stretch over the wrists and go a couple of times back and forwards here so you can really feel your whole palm pressing down. Make sure your index fingers are pointed forward, and as you roll forwards and back, try to straighten your arms and keep a little tuck of your pelvis, or another way is to lift the front hip points up here. So you're engaging your core as you get into this here. Let's take the fingers facing back, and you can sit back onto the toes, let the heels of the palms come up. Just a couple of times back and forth. It's a good opportunity to get in touch with the rhythm of your breath. And this one's my favorite, but not many people like this one, is onto the backs of the hands here. And just a little bit of rocking back and forwards here. Try to keep your thumb and your pinky finger spread out nice and wide. So we'll begin onto our hands and knees and take the feet back a little bit. So the starting position here is you want to lift the frontal hip points up so you're closing off the space in the core, and then leaning forwards here. Now you can take the heels to the butt, and we'll do a couple of chaturanga push-ups. So as you come down, your elbows draw straight back, your chest stays lifted, and you just come down to a hover here. So the chest is nice and bright, the elbows magnetize in, and then you use the strength of your triceps to push you back up. So you can come into a couple of push-ups like that, grounding into the inner knuckles. And then if you want to amplify it, you do the same thing, but lift your knees up off of the mat. So shift forward. As you lower down, your elbows will trace your rib cage, and your shoulders will stay lifted instead of dumping down. Another thing that's common is to lower the pelvis down like that too. So try to keep one solid plank, as if you have like an actual plank of wood underneath you, and just lower and lift. Lower, lift. Anywhere between 0 to 5 push-ups. I'm shifting back as I come up, shifting forward as I go down. Nice. Lower the knees, sit back onto the toes. Give your wrists a little bit of a shake or roll from side to side. Then we'll work into some side plank stuff. So we'll start on the forearms and have it so your elbows draw in a little bit, because as you push weight on your arms, they always want to splay out. So draw them in and then get your hands a bit wider. So pressing into your hands, lift up, forearm plank. It's the exact same as plank. And then just swivel the heels. You'll actually feel this into your obliques, more so than into your arms here. And then we're going to lift up into side plank. So roll over onto the right side. Come onto your left hand. And then come all the way up into plank. Swivel the heels to your left. You can walk your left hand a little bit forward and then reach the right arm up. That's too much. Draw the knee down, the bottom knee. Otherwise, keep it lifted. And then go straight onto your right forearm. Swivel the heels to the right, and then reach your left arm up. Come back onto the left hand, reach your right arm up for side plank. So we're just weaving back and forwards between forearm side plank on the right and regular side plank on the left. You can always add in more by hovering the bottom foot above the other foot, which takes a little bit more balance into consideration. Now we still have to do the other side as well. So we'll come right in towards left forearm side plank, right hand side plank. I don't have any idea how much we did before, but we'll just keep moving back and forwards here. And you can choose if you want to hover the foot. So get your heart moving a lot. Now, a common tendency I've done here is to lean back a lot here, which opens up into the shoulder. But what you want to do is open the chest, but keep the hips, the top hip kind of rolling down. So it'll get more into your core rather than opening and splaying. We'll just go one more time on this side. So opening into the chest, but rolling the top hip down. Not really down, but level. Come back into plank and then lower the knees. Sit back onto the butt and lower the forearms down. So next we'll do turbo dog into dolphin and then dolphin push-ups here. So I'll show you what that looks like. You can join me. Same thing as before, elbows track down, hands a little bit wider. So you want your hands like down dog, arms, hands. So index fingers facing forward, press into the inner hand. And then keeping the weight into your elbows, just lift your knees to a hover. Cool. Now, like downward dog or dolphin, push your head back through towards your arms. Push your hands down and forward and then hover your elbows. Nice, little turbo dog here. And you can lift your butt up, straighten your legs and lower. Keep pushing your hands down and forward. So you're trying to get your face closer towards your feet. And then go ahead and straighten the arms fully for downward facing dog. And then see if you can, maybe one at a time or both together, lower both elbows down. Nice. Look forward. My hair is in my way. And then you're just going to bring your chin or your nose right towards the upper part of your thumbs here. And you'll shift back and forward. Now this is quite hard in itself, these little bowing dolphin push-ups. If you want to amplify, you can go from dolphin straight into chaturanga and plank. So dolphin, look forward, shift forward, chaturanga, plank, dolphin. Bend your knees, shift forward, chaturanga, plank, dolphin, lift your hips up. Bend your knees, shift forward, plank, dolphin. Try it again. Dun, dun, dun. Nice. Last time here. Chaturanga hold. Squeeze your elbows in, lift your chest. Push back up to plank. And then downward facing. Lower your knees down. So this next one will incorporate arms as well as core, knee to nose. And then we'll choose if we want to amplify that at all. I always like, after you do something over and over, you're like, yeah, I can do this now. And then you want to add on. So we'll start with knee to nose. You can always go, if your arms are tired, which mine are, you can always take tabletop. Bring your knee to your nose underneath. Keep leaning forward here. Otherwise, we will come into plank pose. Hover the right foot. Take an inhale. As you exhale, knee to nose, round the back. Push your hands through the floor. Inhale. To make it harder, you stay in plank. Exhale. To make it a little bit easier, you go up into three-legged dog. And then knee to nose. It's like you're trying to bring your knee through your arms, try to touch your nose back and forward. Using the breath, inhale. Really use the butt to lift. Exhale, round. Push your upper back into the ceiling. We're just staying on that right side. And now come into three-legged dog. And we can amplify this into some handstand hops. So you'll use this right leg to kick up, and you'll lift your left foot off of the floor like that. And then draw your knee to your nose. Inhale, exhale. Your arms are straight the whole time. And you're really pushing into that inner hand. It doesn't really matter how high you get up. It could just be a little funny little kick. Or you could really try to hover into a handstand for a sec. Nice. Downward facing dog. Lower your knees. And then change sides. Take a breath. I never count anything. I just do until I get like a general fatigue. So there's this, some people really like counting because it gives them this consistency and then room for improvement, but I just think your body changes on every given day. So you put in the work. Sometimes it's 5, sometimes it's 12. You just have to see how you are on that particular day. That's just how I roll. So, plank pose. Hover the left foot. Take an inhale, open through the chest a little bit. As you exhale, knee to nose. Inhale. So you're staying into plank to make it harder, or you're three-legged dogging and then knee to nosing. Inhale, exhale. There is a tendency without any counting to go harder on the first side and make it easier on the second side because your arms are already tired. So as you go through these movements, really try to shift forward and draw that heel to your butt. Now, we'll add in those handstand hops. So try to resist the urge to shorten the stance like I just did, because you want to keep the plank length. The left foot, the heel, whatever, will kick you up into a little hop, and then knee to nose. Inhale, hop, knee to nose. Hop. And then if you get tired and you still want to push yourself, you can just lower it down into that three-legged dog instead of the hop. All right, lower the knees down. Take a little bit of a break. So there's a lot in the arm strength stuff is to round push. So it's nice to just do a little bit of a back bend. Fingertips behind you, squeeze the shoulder blades in, lift the chest, maybe drop the head back if your neck is comfortable with that. You can always take your butt off your heels. Breathe. Catch your breath. And then sit your butt back down. Cool. So there's a lot in yoga, especially when you use no equipment, to everything is about pushing. There's not really much pulling action here, like if you were to use a chin-up bar and get the pulling muscles. So that's just too bad. You can still build a lot of strength with all the pushing forces, which will help with any arm balance, handstand, crow, and things in that line. So another one to strengthen rather just like a linear push is to open the shoulders. So we did a little bit of that in side plank where you roll open and open through the chest. But now we'll take it into a downward facing dog. Let's start with the left leg reaching up. Take a breath in. And then as you exhale, take your left foot to the outside of the right wrist. You can come up on your right fingertips. Spin your back heel down. And then open up. So it's a little bit like a side plank, except you have the weight of your bottom foot. I really love this movement. Lower the right hand down. Come onto the back tippy toes. Bring your knee into your chest. Spin the back heel down and then land the top toes down. And you'll really have to open through that shoulder into wild thing here. And then keep going back and forward. So you're on one hand at a time. You can kickstand your leg out. Lift the hips open. So the bottom shoulder really open and push it down to lift the hips up. Same thing with the other side. Knee in, pivot onto the back heel, touch the toes behind you. You can always sit the butt down before you lift up. You can lower it so your shoulder stacks over. And then same thing. Now there's an option to also amplify this position, which is not using the support of the supporting leg. So it looks like a wild thing hover. Bottom arm is pushing. And then an awkward side plank. Either knee into chest or straight leg. And you can go back and forwards here between those. It's a lot of stability required as well as strength. Let's go the other side. Downward facing dog. Right leg up. On your exhale, kickstand the foot to the left wrist. You can come onto the left fingertips just to find this orientation. Spin the back heel. You can always bend into the back knee as well before you come up into this fallen triangle. Inhale. And then pivot onto the back toes. Knee to chest. Come onto the fingertips. Touch the toes down behind you. You can always sit. And then lift. And then weave back and forwards here. Kickstand out. Lift the hips. Roll the bottom shoulder open. Draw it in. Step it behind. Lift up. And just watch whatever the supporting shoulder and arm is, what is going on. You want to amplify, you take the hovering foot option. It's a little bit like a side plank there. Maybe kickstand the legs straight. You'll feel that into your shoulders a lot. Whew. All right. Enough of that. Let's give the shoulders a little roll around. One more little back bend. So tented fingertips. Squeeze the shoulder blades in. Puff up the chest. Look straight up. Maybe lift the butt off of the heels. Inhale. And release. And then just come into a brief child's pose. Nice. Got one more thing for you without doing any arm balances today, so no crow or, well, we did a little bit of handstand, but this last one also gets into back bending and forward bending. This is a really full body movement here. So similar to what we did. If you need to roll out the wrists at all before you move on, go for that. Otherwise, come into plank pose. Your toes will be tucked under the whole time, and then you'll lower your hips towards the backs of your wrists. Draw your shoulders back. So I like to bend the elbows a little bit and then hug in, push down. Nice. So you're in an up dog onto the toes. So take a breath in, and then as you exhale, right knee to your nose, round. Inhale, step it back, lower down, draw the shoulders back. Exhale, knee to nose. So it's kind of like this cat-cow, opening and closing the spine, adding in core strength, arm strength, deeper back bend. Let's go straight to the other side. Inhale, modified up dog. Exhale, knee to nose, round. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale. And then lower the knees down. I'm going to leave it at that because I'm tired. And I hope you are too, and that you feel all of that stuff healthy way. So you want to feel your muscles being sore and used without any pinching sensation around one location, like in certain parts of the shoulder, the elbow, the wrist. You don't want to feel pain in the joint. You just want a general soreness of muscles being used. Thank you for joining me. Hope you liked it. Namaste.